You're not going to want to miss this episode of the AI Show where we talk all about smarter model system with my friend Naomi. Make sure you tune in. Hello, welcome to this episode of the AI Show. We're talking all about the smarter model system with my friend Naomi. Naomi, how you doing, my friend?
I am doing great, Seth. It's been awesome. It's been amazing to be on the AI Show with you. Thank you.
We worked together on other things. Now that we're on the same team, it's even cooler. So why don't you tell people what you do on our team?
Yeah, it's been amazing. So it's definitely always a pleasure to work with you, Seth. So yeah, I have the privilege of running the Foundry models team. So within Azure AI Foundry, I run the models team that actually brings to life many of the amazing things that we have in the model catalog to make all of that new technology available to our developers and building their AI apps on top of it.
That is where all of the party is. I mean, fundamentally, like if we get down to it, it's the models that bring all of the magic, in my opinion. So probably one of the most important things. So let's start with this. And maybe you'll have context to Seth, but I want to ask this question. There's so many models. I get lost. How can I be smarter about this? Why don't you set some context and maybe show us some stuff?
Yeah, no, it's a great question, Seth. I hear this question all the time, right? So it's amazing. There's such a plethora of models out there, and we want to bring you even more and even more and even more, right, for your specific use case. But the question is, of course, like, how do I actually find the things that I need? So I wanted to walk through just a couple of things that we have in terms of improvements for the model catalog and just showcase just a little bit about what's going on there as well. So I think it'll be super helpful to look at.
All right, can we go to your screen? Let's see if we can get this up here. Let's get this up right here. There you go. We got it.
That's awesome. So first off, I just wanted to introduce you. If you haven't been to the model catalog before, you're going to go to Azure AI Foundry and you'll be able to see it there. And then across the top, I just wanted to draw your attention to a few things. So across the top, we have this announcement stripe here. And this announcement stripe just basically has, here's all the latest models that have been added to the catalog that are specific ones that we want to call out to you. And of course, you'll see some big hitters in there like GPT-5. You'll also see the model router and also the codex models and context, which we'll talk about in less than a minute. And of course, just today, we actually launched Mistral Document AI as well. So it's really awesome to see. So I always draw your attention to those things across the top if you just want to see what are the big newest releases that we have.
Okay, so that's cool.
You might be looking at the rest of it. Yeah, sorry, I was going to go through just a couple of things here. So
okay,
like the leaderboards and other pieces here. So
no, I love the idea of like, if you don't know what's new, start at the top. Okay, so that's the first thing. Okay, cool. What else we got? Sorry to interrupt.
It's all good. No, it's all good. So leaderboards. So these are big things here. So I get so many questions about this from our MVPs and many of our developers out there of like, how do I actually compare and contrast all of these different models? And so these leaderboards are really your friends, right? So you want to think through like, what do I want from terms of quality? What do I want in terms of cost? What do I want in terms of throughput? And so being actually able to check that out, you can actually change these out and see which one of these models. You can see, for example, DeepSeek R10528 is right here. It's high in quality. You know, maybe you want to think about the different options for how things are being costed as well. And then these, importantly, are the trade-off charts. And you can select your own models as part of this too. So you can add additional trade-offs here. So if I want to check out, like, what kind of performance do I get for what kind of cost, I'm able to do that as well. Now, importantly for our enterprise developers as well, we have a lot here in terms of understanding content safety. And so we have here, you can see the harmful behavior. You can look at things like knowledge in sensitive domains as well. And so, how the model is talking back to the user and what kinds of areas that it's able to conduct conversations around. And then you can also just check out like how it's being benchmarked on all of these other different behaviors like information retrieval, coding, and reasoning, etc. So lots of really good stuff here to be able to explore. And so all of that is available in the model catalog and is under the leaderboard area.
That's cool. So before we go to the next part, so leaderboard is like general things, but then here's I'm like spitballing here, Naomi, because you're the expert here. Like, I feel like those are really good general metrics, but then you need to go into like your task specific stuff and then do other testing too, right? It's not like this is going to be 100% for your specific thing every time. Am I getting this right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So we do have a bunch here around our scoring methodology here. So these are general benchmarks, right? We're trying to look this across a number of public evaluation services, but we want to make sure that you have access to that. And then you can go down and sort of tweak what you need as part of that too.
And I love you. I was going to literally ask like, okay, I see the quality and the cost and the, but I want to compare these things, and I saw that you're able to literally compare them because I don't know, we've been in software for a long time, and it's like good, fast, cheap, pick two, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so I love that you're able to be like, hey, if we're super sensitive about X or Y or Z, then we can be less sensitive about the other. Like if we really need to be super smart and super genius at general tasks, that's probably going to cost more, but that's okay. I love the idea of being able to do this kind of costing.
Exactly. And so this is just a great way for folks to be able to explore how the trade-offs look, right? So oftentimes you might start with the most expensive model, if you will, right? And then over time be able to refine your scenario to be able to accommodate maybe a model that's less expensive, but has just a similar amount of quality that you need for your particular use case. And then of course, all of these different metrics that are available as well. So these are all available to explore too.
Oh, this is so helpful. And like I've gone to this page so many times and I'm like, because I've done them in demos, like in keynotes, but I've never been like, let me understand this specific thing. So this is super, super helpful. All right, what's next?
Okay. All right, and that's next under here. So the first thing I want to draw your attention to is, yes, as you mentioned, there is lots of choice in here, right? Models, you can see 11,152 and counting every single day. But that's awesome because, again, we want to bring you the choice, right? We want to bring you the best of the open source models, as well as our partners from Hugging Face, and then, of course, from our preeminent partners like OpenAI, Mistral, Black Forest Labs, Meta, etc. So lots of folks that are coming as part of that too. And so you'll see some of the newest models that we have available. For example, we've got things like Grok available here, as well as Black Forest Labs. And you can actually narrow this down. So you can see here, I want to point out specifically the direct from Azure category. And so this is where our Azure OpenAI services live, but also the amazing ecosystem partners that we have, essentially the flagship models from our ecosystem partners. And you'll see these available here. These are available for serverless deployment and the similar service to how we offer Azure OpenAI. And so we have XAI's models from Grok. We also have Flux from Black Forest Labs. You'll see Llama in here, as well as DeepSeek. And then, of course, MAIDS-R1, which is a variant of DeepSeek that Microsoft produced. And then our newest lineup, which just came out today, which is Mistral Document AI. So I always encourage folks to look. There's 54 models in here. This is a great way to say, okay, I want the best service that Microsoft can give me, or has transparency and responsible AI, or guardrails applied to it. These are the models that you can really look at from that perspective.
So here's a question. So direct from Azure means that we have our team making sure that they work on the service.
Exactly.
And then,
so we've onboarded them, we've brought them to market, right? And they are basically, Microsoft is your partner here to deliver this service.
I love it. And the other ones would be like, hey, we have amazing partners that have a way that they want to deploy and do their things. And that's also good if you are partnered with them as well. So is that the distinction?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So you can think about this as kind of a great way to transact with folks in the extensive ecosystem marketplace that we have. So for example, we have industry AI models in here. You'll see things from Bayer, you'll see things from Hist AI, HLS models, et cetera, that are available too. And so there's lots of goodness here. Page, Rockwell, those folks, Sight Machine, all of these are industry specific ones like manufacturing, automation, those kinds of areas. But then you'll also see incredible stuff from Hugging Face. So, lots of the top models from Hugging Face are coming directly here. So we have an amazing partnership with Hugging Face. They bring us the best of the open source world, so you can have it and run it safely and securely on top of Azure and your platform. So just really awesome to see. And so some of my favorites that are in here right now, I love this. Parakeet is one of my favorite voice models. So great set of work there from NVIDIA. And those are available right now to use too. So really cool to see this, and it gets kept up to date very often. So just awesome to see.
This is cool because I think one of the things that I don't know, I'm a traditional machine learning guy, and there's like models that do really cool stuff that are not large language models, but that do other stuff. And it seems like some of those are in here that do very specific tasks that use kind of transformer. They're all kind of transformer-ish models, but it's really cool to be able to have a set of options on things that you can do. How do you differentiate? Like, is there like a way to know what kind of tasks you can do with this?
Those are great questions, of
Oh.
course. So, if you want to look at these different areas, you have the inference task drop down here, and this helps you out. For example, audio generation, right? I can easily select for what I need there. Embeddings models, I want to bring that one up in particular. So, for example, Cohere has an amazing embedding model that's available, and so you can use that one straight from here as well. And that transacts directly from the marketplace. So you're transacting with Cohere, but you're basically running it on Azure as your hyperscaler of choice.
How delightful. This is cool.
So lots of goodness there. So I wanted to show you a couple things there. So within that model catalog, right, that keeps increasing, keeps getting bigger, and we'll have even more improvements on it over time. Of course, we want to give you as much choice as we can across open source and proprietary models, and make sure that you always have access to the models that you need for your specific use cases.
Yeah.
But I wanted to show you a couple of new things. So
Ooh.
I want to show you just a little bit about what we've been doing with GPT-5
Okay.
and, of course, Black Forest Labs after that.
All right. So I want you to let's get GPT-5 because you brought a demo and I want you to talk through it. So let me get this up and going so people can take a look. So GPT-5, here it is. Let's talk through this.
Yeah, so it's a great set of demos here just to show you what you can do, even just in the power of Playground. And so first off, I wanted to point out some differences. If you've been using the GPT models before, especially 4.1, I wanted to really showcase what are the differences here. So I gave this a very generalized prompt, right? And so I said, hey, you're a senior technology consultant, you're working on an RFP, right? We're busy trying to get some business here and make sure that we have a great one-page proposal as part of that. And you might be saying, okay, yeah, I know that many of the reasoning models can deal with this, but I wanted to draw out just a couple things that really make it different with GPT-5. First off, you will see actually the ability to plan out this ROI table, right? So it actually crims through, it shows you assumptions, it gets into the real specifics of this area, and then it's also very instructive about how it frames that out. Now, I've asked it to take that same one pager that it's generated and then looking at how we actually put together a 15-minute meeting, like how do I think about, rationalizing this with the CFO? And you can see here the difference is when it's responding back as opposed to in 4.1, that it actually says very specific statements. It's not just, driving around the area, but instead is actually saying, hey, the ROI and the cost, and here's how it's calculated out. And it's giving me that specific and reasoning rationale that isn't present in 4.1. And then, I said, hey, go ahead and keep going with this, right? Give me a 90-second opening statement here. You can see that it's got lots of personality. It brings in that fact-based reasoning in here too, and actually then helps to tailor it to that specific audience. And then I'm going to negotiate a little bit of risk as part of this too, right? That CFO that I might be talking to is very, risk averse. And so I want to think about how I handle that. And then how do we think about maybe the ejection that comes as part of that too. Again, GPT-5 taking that extra level of thinking time to think through how is it going to compose this, and then how does it actually draw on the facts that it proposed earlier, bringing that directly in here and getting into specifics as opposed to sort of warm generalities that we might have seen in some of the previous versions of foundation models. So I just wanted to showcase that. And then the last piece of this is hey, go write me a Python script, because it's not just about the amazing reasoning capabilities that we have in GPT-5, but also the ability for us to make sure that, can we generate some great code out of this too? So now that I got my proposal, hey, go write me a Python script so we can actually go dig into some of the migration costs in this proposal and make sure that it's able to calculate that out as well. So you'll see it generate out that Python code that I can then go instrument into my different experiences. And then I can even run that, of course, directly from Playground in that view code button, and it will pop up and bring up all of that information. So lots of great capabilities in here. What do you think, Seth?
Yeah, as this is going, I think it's really cool that we have a model that can, I use these models and because I don't want people to think that this is going to replace humans. Mm-hmm. I use it to augment myself because I'm a better speaker than I am an actual writer. And so if I can speak some stuff into Word, or I can speak some stuff into an application, and then this can sort of smooth things over, kind of like the grammar check of the 1990s for those that are old enough to, it kind of helps me clarify. And so it's really cool that it can clarify my thoughts. Mm-hmm. You can target it to specific, directions for thoughts, because there's many ways. And then you can actually even also get into coding with it, which is really cool. To me. And so I love the idea of having a model augment what I'm doing, because you know how, I don't know, I have a way of thinking in my head, but doesn't translate to for other people to understand. It's kind of cool to have an LLM like GPT-5 to bounce ideas off of, to clarify, to look at code. Are there any other things it can do other than that, or what other use cases have you seen?
Yeah, so we've seen a lot of greatness on how the reasoning model itself can be used. There are several components within GPT-5. It really is a family of models, right? So there is Mini, and there's Nano, and there's Chat, and there's even more experiences that are coming as part of that. And then GPT-5 itself can also do tool calling. So it calls back to Image Gen 1, for example, to help generate images in there too. And so there's a couple things I will mention. So, being able to use the Chat model is a great way to have, very fast responses in there. The Mini and Nano ones are amazing at like that task base that we need very quickly, and being able to run that in a very fast operational method, right? When you have a specific type of use case. I've also seen the reasoning models do really well with medical knowledge. And so that's the other piece of this too. So if you're in any of those kind of domains where you expect more specifics around, maybe it's from pharmaceuticals all the way through to medical knowledge, then you're being able to use that as part of this too. So lots of goodness.
So the GPT-5 one has built into it tool calling to call other models. So it has like implicit orchestration via tool calling kind of situation.
Exactly. So yeah,
that's really cool.
It's kind of amazing to see too. So yeah. And then one thing I will mention really quickly is the ability to do model router. So part of the release that we had, we also made sure that we could have a model router that goes across all of these different models too. And so that's like another cool thing to be able to show, and making sure that the model router can actually go across the GPT-5 models as well as the previous instantiation of models too. So please do check out the model router too. I was going to try to bring up my screen really quickly just to showcase that in case folks missed it on the first demo there. But we have the model routers up here at the top, right? So this is the cool one, and be able to actually go across all of these different GPT models. So instead of you having to figure it out, hey, just let the system do this too, right? So you can support all of these different models, and you can see even more. So going
and GPT-5 is in there now too.
Yeah, exactly. Released the same day. So cool.
Oh my goodness! I need to have this one deployed. And use it. Like, I thank you for that. And so there was one more model though that's new. Tell us about that one.
Yeah, so I wanted to show just a little bit more on the image side of the world too. So, because there's lots of goodness that's happening, of course, and images are really important as part of this. It's really how we communicate, isn't it? So we spend a lot of time with text, but image is great. And so Black Forest Labs is one of our newest partners that's come direct from Azure. And so you can see here, I've asked it just to create a logo for my team, right? So the Foundry Models team, I asked it to put in, futuristic logos, kind of blues and purples, and you can see what it constructed, right? Notice how great the text is on this one, right? And
yes, so, and that's the thing that usually gets messed up.
Exactly.
This is really cool.
Yeah. So I thought that's just a great simple use case there as well. And then, I wanted to go into kind of photorealism, right? There's lots of things going on in the world where we need to have great stock imagery. What if I could just generate that automatically, right? And so Context Pro here, I've asked it to envision what the Foundry Models team looks like. And just check that out, right? There's really, these folks look real to me.
Yes,
right?
There's not like no 8-fingered people and legs coming out of arms.
Exactly. So, pretty accurate there. But, I want to refine this even more because, you can't really tell, like, is this actually in Redmond and Seattle area, right? It's part of Microsoft. And so I've asked it to actually go ahead and try to, subtly change the difference here of like what's in the background of those windows. So you can think about it as part of being in Seattle. So we'll see that appear. And notice that it has not changed the people. I think it's really important to notice here. Like you can see that it's changed the view out of the window, subtle, and it is Seattle in the background there. And then, but it hasn't changed the folks here. But now I want to reinforce it more just to reinforce where we are in the Puget Sound area. And so I've asked it to put a picture of Seattle on the wall without, of course, changing the people and, causing issues there as well. So you'll see it add that in there directly here too. And again, just preserving that information through these particular turns of generation here. The in-painting capabilities here on Black Forest Context are really, really amazing. So you can see what it's done here. So it's cool, right, to see this put this great picture of Seattle in there. And obviously, I'm putting very simple, basic prompts in here as part of this too. And of course, just to reinforce that, it's something to do with Microsoft here, I asked it to put a Microsoft t-shirt on some folks in the room as well. I didn't specify whom. I just made a very general prompt, and you'll see it generate that in just a second. So just being able to, change again what people are wearing, but not actually changing the person.
Oh my goodness.
This is kind of amazing too. So I just thought this was really great. And then one last prompt, of course, just to reinforce how this is doing it here, is basically I'm going to ask it to change out the table. Hey, I don't really like this wood table, so let's change the table without changing the people, and make sure that that table can change into whatever I might need. And so, in this case, I'm going to change it into a metal table, and I'll show it in just a second. But this is great for all the folks who are creating, stock photography. They want to be able to modify this for their particular backgrounds or colors or anything else. Maybe they want to have different images, right, and be able to tailor this to different demographics or different markets that they're serving their retail products in. So I just wanted to showcase a little bit there, Black Forest Labs context model.
Oh my, that is amazing. Here's a question, because I've used the GPT image ones. Is it basically like you have to pass it the image, like there's probably code in there, but you pass it the image and then give it a prompt and then it edits that last image? Is there a way to like do masking for this one, or does context not have that?
Yeah, so there is masking in there. So the in-painting, that's the thing that has really blown me away about context, has been the in-painting and the ability to take in. So like I can bring in a single image. We hope to expand that to multi-images in the future as well, and then bring that in and then have the in-painting with face preservation on it. So it's just been really amazing. And you can remove backgrounds. You saw me, change up the background for Seattle, etc., without changing the rest of the photo. I just think that's kind of amazing.
I love it. Well, I've taken so much of your time. Sorry, we nerded out here. Where can people go to find out more?
Hey, of course, I want you to go look at the Foundry Models Overview, check out the different kinds of models that we have. So that AKA link is up here, Models Overview. And then, of course, go to Azure AI Foundry. Go build your amazing applications at ai.azure.com.
Well, it's always a pleasure talking to you, Naomi. Thank you so much for spending the time with us, my friend.
It's been awesome. Thank you so much, Seth, for having me.
And thank you so much for watching and learning all about a smarter model systems inside of Azure AI Foundry. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully we'll see you next time. Take care.